Three, two, one.
Giddy up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another special edition of the Rock Fantasy Files. Let me X out of that thing so I could talk to you people properly. Unfortunately, Steven is not able to make it tonight. He says that he had a tooth pulled, but I don't believe it. I think he's over partied too much from celebrating for Taylor Swift and the Kelsey kid getting married. I think he had a full long night into the AM of spinning his Taylor Swift records and drinking wine coolers and acting like a princess. So he wasn't able to make it tonight. So I am hosting, and here we are. Now, Count Ralphus brought up a really fucking interesting and cool topic. Our top five pet peeves or things that we don't like about heavy metal. So this is going to be interesting discussion tonight. We got Ovi here from Norway. We got my boy Christian from Connecticut. And we got Count Ralphus, our resident vampire and metal historian. So Count Ralphus, I'm going to let you start the discussion tonight. We're going to do our bottom three and then our top two. I guess just three and two. I don't think we all have one major thing that's like, holy shit, I hate this with a flaming passion, but whatever. So we're going to go with three and then two. And then we're going to have a quick discussion at the very end about what we feel is the definition of a poser. So, Count Ralphus, kick us off. What are some of your pet peeves of heavy
All
metal?
right, so first I got to give props to Lair of Alchemist, John Gaffney's channel. I watched an episode yesterday, and it was like top five things, or something like that. It was like top five things I don't like about heavy metal today, or something like that. But it was like, I watched his episode, and I disagreed with some of the stuff. I thought, oh, this is interesting. I like this topic. And then we found out that we weren't going to do the Mastodon. We were going to do a special, like, kind of Mastodon tribute show tonight. And we had to come up with something really quick. And I said, hey, I just watched this episode yesterday. What do you guys think of this? And you guys were all like, all right, cool, let's do it. So that's, I just wanted to give him props because we're kind of ripping off his topic idea. But all right, so my first one I'm going to talk about is, like, one of the things he talked about in his episode was how he didn't like moshing at shows. And I love moshing at shows. It gives a certain energy, but definitely people get stupid with it. Back in the 90s, it got really violent at times. And it was like gangs of friends, like, moshing in like little groups and their own little pits, and they want to fight. A lot of fights happened back in the day. I don't like that part of it. I like just the energy of it. Like, I used to go to see a Slayer show, and that whole floor was just moving and everybody was going berserk. It just gives so much energy, and it's an amazing thing. But in the last, like, I don't know when it started exactly, but there's this thing called crowd killing. And it's just fucking retarded. It's like they run over to the edge of the pit and they just start throwing punches and hitting people. I see like girls getting hit, and it's like they don't even look at who they're hitting. They're just throwing punches, and then they do kicks into the fucking people, and they're just like trying to like take their fucking head off. It's like they're not watching the band. If you're at it, like, I was at a show within the last year. I was at two of them, and it's actually the same band, but fucking, it was small rooms, and they packed it in. And when that pit started, it was just like you couldn't watch the band. You had to keep your eye out. Someone don't take your eyeball out. They kick you in the eye, or just like you're watching the show and you're headbanging, and someone comes fucking elbows you. And I go to these shows with my wife. My wife is like always been like my driver going to the shows and stuff. Like, I met her in '92 after like 2 weeks of dating her. She was like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to this concert in New York City." And she's like, "Oh, can I come?" I was like, "Yeah." And she came and she loved it, and she's been going ever since. That first concert was Malevolent Creation, Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, and Agnostic Front, at the Ritz in
Wow.
New York City. Not in that order.
Wife material.
Obituary
Wife
was headline.
material.
Yeah, so she just liked going in there. But that's the thing. It's like, I'm there with my wife. It's like I gotta watch that someone's not kicking her in the head. And it's like she's been around a million pits, so she knows how to take care of herself and everything. But it's just it wasn't fun. It's not fun being at a show, and like I didn't go there to watch this guy fucking dance and fucking do karate kicks and stuff. It's like they try to be there to be part of the show. I mean, that's what like moshing always was like that, but you're not the show. We're not there to fucking watch you kick people and stuff. So I just it's like it's sickening to watch sometimes, and it's fun when I'm watching it on video though. If I'm watching YouTube and they're all kicking each other in the head, then fuck it, I don't. That's fun, but not when I'm there with my wife and getting my beer knocked over every fucking 5 minutes by one of these idiots. Yeah, so that's pretty big one for me. All right, so the next one it's going to be following the trends, and this is like something bands do, but metal fans do too. Like metal fans will something's popular, and then all of a sudden they start dressing like whatever's popular and stuff. But it happened with bands, and it happened two times, like really significantly. As a metalhead for me, one was like the success of Motley Crue in the early 80s. It's like if you didn't live through it, you don't realize how big they were. Motley Crue at one point was on the cover of every fucking magazine. They were like the biggest thing. They were everywhere. And all of a sudden, like the old school bands that influenced them and stuff, they all started glamming up. And like, I mean, someone like Ronnie James Dio even spooging his hair up a little bit, like he doesn't fit in that world. But then like, Judas Priest dumbed things down with the synthesizers and their look. Like KK got a perm, and then Ozzy was fucking glamming up, and they were just like all looking retarded to me. Like, and it was at a time where I was finding Metallica, and these guys just come out and they're wearing jeans and t-shirts. And this is how we go to school. Like, even if you like those bands, you didn't fucking wear spandex to school, and you didn't wear makeup. And so like the idea of all these like legends that created metal, even like they're jumping on this trend, and it was so fake looking to me even at a young age that it opened the doors for me to get into thrash metal. And that's where I like, you could see in my album collection, like after 1984, there's no glam shit in my collection. It's like I got into thrash, then I got into hardcore and crossover music, and I was right there when death metal starts. But the same thing happens a couple of years later in the thrash metal scene. Metallica puts out the Black Album. They become the biggest thing. They just go so far ahead of every thrash band out there. So every thrash band, every label that put out thrash albums says, you got to try to be like Metallica, write songs like Metallica. Or they started wearing, all the bands were wearing black wristbands, and they were like dressing like Metallica. It was like, so the band that got me, that I followed after the glam scene, like now this is the band that is starting a trend that all these other thrash bands start following, and that opens the doors to me for death metal, because now every thrash band gets weaker. I mean, every one of them, Nuclear Assault, Dark Angel, like every one of them just got like weaker. Not like a total like change around, but they were still being like thrash. But Testament got weaker. All these bands just got weak. They were all following the success of Metallica. So that's the following the trend thing. The great thing, like with death metal, there was a couple bands that broke kind of big, but none of them were big enough where bands are just going to change the sound. I mean, there's a million Cannibal Corpse clones and stuff like that, but none of them are making money. So they jumped on a trend maybe more because they really love that kind of music or whatever. They didn't do it to be more popular and make more money and stuff. So I look at it a little different, but yeah. Oh, and another thing too is like with Halford, I love the metal god. Rob Halford's a legend. I grew up on Judas Priest, but when he left, after first he like does the whole trend thing with Turbo and Ram It Down, then he leaves them and he does Fight, because who's the big band out there right now? Pantera's the band leading the pack right now. So all of a sudden, here's Rob Halford trying to jump around like Phil Anselmo. Then Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and everything now he's going to do Two, and it's something that fails so miserably. But how about if Two was like his biggest album he ever did? Would that have been the next 20 years? Because he just would have been following the trend where that was making him tons of money. So I hate putting down Halford, but he comes back with the Halford band, and it's fucking killer. I love it, and he's metal again. And he knows that's his true base and everything. So it's one thing he experimented. These could have been good side projects if he stayed with Priest and kept Priest sincere and metal. And then even when he comes back with Priest, all of a sudden they do Painkiller. It's like this. It's almost thrash. It's like the song Painkiller anyway, and it puts them back on the map for a lot of people. But to me, it's like, okay, now you're trying to get back. It was a weird thing. I go back to that album now and I love it. But at the time when Painkiller came out, I was like, you fucking just been dicking around for 13 or oh no, actually that's right. Painkiller was before fucking all the others, before the Halford and everything. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like that seemed like a forced album in a way. And I hate putting down Rob Halford, but like I'm glad he's back in Judas Priest where he belongs and stuff. And those Halford albums did redeem him and stuff. But it makes me wonder, like, how about if that 2 album would have been big, or if the Fight albums were bigger? All right, so
Well, the
my
two album, I just gotta put in 2 cents there. The two album is a very personal album because it's the album he comes out as gay. It's
Yeah.
his kind of his it's a very personal album. So it's yeah, he has made Christmas albums. So Rob Halford is so much more than just a metal god, but two, it was mainly for him coming out as gay. That was his kind of
yeah,
thing.
yep.
And
Well,
everybody
most people,
jumped on that industrial trend too. Like even
yeah,
Danzig got involved in that.
yeah,
That was
exactly.
oh, those
That was
Danzig
horrible.
albums were fucking bad,
Oh,
man. Very
exactly
bad.
what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Rob
Yeah.
Zombie is big all of a sudden, and so is Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails. So all of a sudden, bands are doing they're tinged. I mean, it's one thing to experiment if you come up with the idea first, but when you're doing it when that's the big trend, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
that's when it comes off as false, and I can't stand that. All
I
right,
agree.
so the next one, uh, this was like let me see. All right, so I'll say sports apparel on stage. I mean, these bands, it's like they fucking wear a Yankee hat on stage. Like you're playing like underground metal or hardcore or whatever. It's like I get it if you got like a cousin that plays on the team, or if you're even if you're a huge baseball fan or whatever. That's you're up there sporting for $1 billion industry. Like you can't wear your friend's band's hat or fucking shirt. Instead, you're gonna wear a Yankee jersey up there, or your fucking football team. It's like, who gives a fuck what team you play for? And I hate bringing it up though. It's like Jeff Hanneman. Like you look at the early Jeff Hanneman, he's out there with his fucking leather jacket with the chains and stuff. All of a sudden, for the last 20 years of his career, he's wearing a fucking Raiders jersey every time, every year, just fucking Raiders. It's like, yeah, we get it. You like the fucking Raiders, but you're up there playing satanic thrash metal. And it's like, you can't ever sport for another band. You can't ever sport, for something different, horror movies, whatever, just something, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how is it really that important that you got to let everybody know what teams you like in fucking sports? And sports has nothing to do with fucking music to me. So I see a band up there with their fucking sports gear on, and I just like it right away. I don't know, it turns me off right away. I think it's just ridiculous. Fucking support metal, support underground bands that don't get no support. Why are you sporting or wear a Nike shirt or a fucking Adidas shirt? It's like, why would you be up there sporting a $1 billion sneaker company when you could be up there wearing a shirt of something that really influenced you? Did fucking Nike influence you? The shoelaces influence your life somehow? So yeah, that's the other one, is yeah, not just sports, but like anything like that. You're fucking up there with your sneaker fucking shirt on or whatever. Fuck you guys.
What if the
Yeah,
band
that's
though is
that's
like that's kind of their theme? Like they're just like I would just say so there's a punk band. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They're called Two Man Advantage out of Long Island. All their songs are about hockey and drinking. So it's
that's
like
totally different. That's
yeah,
totally
That's
different.
cool.
If you're
yeah.
fucking singing about hockey, that's totally different. I give that a pass. That makes sense. All right. That's your people you're singing to.
Yeah.
So that
You sound like such a fucking curmudgeon, Ralph.
Well, that's how this, that's the idea of this, it's like things that kind of like piss you off, and we never really have a reason to talk about it in other episodes. Like if we were doing
That's
a Slayer
true.
episode, if we were doing a Slayer episode right now, I would not be slagging Hanneman for his
Jeff
fucking Raiders
Hanneman, yeah.
jersey. But as I was thinking about this, it's like, yeah, man, fucking, and he wore it for so long, and he also wore fucking like catcher's fucking things on his fucking shin, like is somebody kicking you in the shins every time you go play or something? Like I didn't understand the shin guard stuff. I was a catcher in baseball when I was a kid, and I wouldn't think of wearing that. I'm saying, whatever. The whole fashion thing could be. We could do a whole episode just on fashion, but I guess that
Oh,
would all fall
absolutely.
under that.
Well, I might think a little because Jeff Hanneman suffered really bad from alcoholism the last 20 years. So those things may actually be supporting, so he stands more steady on stage.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
I think it's people moshing, maybe kicking them in the shin when they up before they stage dive. They try to kick him in the shin a few times. He's like, "Fuck that." No, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that he did for many years. Like it's just
Yeah.
weird, like to have that one look like that for so long, and it was kind of I don't know.
Terry
you
wore
start
Slayer,
to- you start to look
Slayer
like
jerseys, Raiders
you
jerseys
start to
for a
look
while
like
too.
15, 20
Yeah.
years or to 10 years back while he was in Slayer. He stood almost still in one spot. He didn't move
Yeah,
much.
true.
So that's why I'm wondering if those ankle support or the knee support things was to keep him steady up.
Yeah, it could
That's
be.
I don't know. I never heard him talk about it or anybody call him out on it. So I don't know if it actually served a function. I think it was just like, I like fucking catchers in baseball. So I'm surprised he didn't wear the fucking,
Yeah,
I
because
catcher
like
mask.
sports.
he was sponsored by Heineken, wasn't he?
Was he
I
sponsored by
think
Heineken?
I don't think so, but later after he died and stuff, I think they might have had some kind of
Because you
something.
had the
But
Heineken guitar and you had a lot of
yeah,
Heineken.
yeah. He
Yeah.
definitely was a pro Heineken. He probably had some kind of sponsor for that.
Yeah, he might have.
Alcoholics usually do
And
have good sponsors.
but even
True.
that, like a Heineken shirt would have been better than a sports jersey.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's like your favorite beer is better. But that's just me.
All right, Count Ralphus. You've aired your grievances. We got a couple more.
Mhm.
So, Christian, let's get your three.
All
Air
right.
your grievances.
Yeah, grievances, pet peeves, dislikes, I guess whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Trying to go through this exercise is really kind of tough because I mean,
Same.
on this channel we're talking about bands we love, music we love, all that, hard rock, metal. So to say things like you don't like, it's like it's kind of hard, but
Agreed.
there are some things I came up with here. So one of the things, thinking something I saw at some of the first couple of shows that I went to that kind of fell by the wayside. And I don't know if this was something that happened in a lot of places, but the first couple of concerts I went to were at Toad's Place in New Haven, Connecticut. And I remember like between sets on the projectors, they would play music videos. So I don't know if anyone else remembers seeing it. Ralph, maybe I think you mentioned seeing something like this at shows, some of the shows you went to back in the day, or
Yeah, Lemoore's was famous for that. Lemoore's used to play videos and there was like it was stuff you wouldn't see on MTV, like it would
Yeah.
be like Mentors and Anthrax and stuff, but you would see in between it, and the crowd would actually mosh the whole time while they played. The DJ would play all this stuff like that. It's cool as hell.
yeah. But like the first couple, I remember seeing the first couple shows that I went to, and then it's just something I never like saw again. And I always thought it was kind of cool because like you're seeing bands that you wouldn't ever see on MTV, even on like Headbangers Ball. The one band I remember like distinctly getting into is because I remember seeing the video for Territory from Sepultura,
Mhm.
and I remember just being like, "Holy shit, these guys are fucking amazing!" And that's how I discovered that band, was like just that in between. But you don't, it's just something that kind of fell by the wayside. And I think it's kind of even if you're playing music over the loudspeakers, between sets, it's like you know, if it's something you're familiar with, great. But if you're playing a band that no one really knows, like you're not going to know the name of it. Like, how are you going to find, you know, unless someone else in the crowd knows who they are or what have you, you might say like, oh, I like that song, but who the fuck is that band? You know, maybe you could try to look it up on YouTube or Google or whatever, but still, I liked having, you know, seeing the band, those music videos where, you know, you see the band name, you see the name of the song, the album or whatnot. So you can kind of, you know, if you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, I'm going to go out and get that CD or that record or whatever. But yeah, so that's one.
Yeah,
Another,
the DJs at Lemore's used to always say who they were playing. They'd be like,
yeah,
"This guys are from Queens, and check these guys out." And then they give you a
yeah.
little bit, but a lot of times they just hit play on something and that play half an album in between bands. It's not like they just hit play on something, let half an album play. Like the Chants used to do that. They didn't mix it up and have like a playlist to make it more interesting. They would just hit play, and then after the next band played, like that same CD would be continuing throughout the night.
Yeah, I think that's, if I remember, that's probably kind of what the, you know, it wasn't like anyone announced. It was just like a continuous, you know, like feed that they were playing. But, you know, it was cool to see. It was nice to see, you know, in between sets.
The
Um,
Chants always played Screaming for Vengeance between bands. It was like
yeah,
that album was always fucking on between bands, no matter who you
I
went to
think
go see.
yeah, I can't,
Frank liked all that old heavy metal, and he used to play Accept all the time, Balls to the Walls. I remember that. I
Yes.
hear that all the time.
Yeah, that album was on a lot too.
I don't know if I remember hearing that between them, but I did see both Accept and Udo at the Chance. So, but
Nice.
that's going a little bit off top. That's talking about something I like, not something I don't like. So,
Ooh,
let's get back to something that I hate. And this is one that probably everyone complains about this, and it's ticket prices for shows, especially arena shows. Most club
Yeah.
shows, it's like 25, $30, which seems somewhat reasonable. But, you know, most shows now, like even like to get a decent seat, you might be spending like $100. And
That's cheap.
yeah, and like you said, that's cheap. But, you know, I did a little bit of research here because, you know, I wasn't going to shows back in like, you know, the early 80s, but looking at what ticket prices were, you're talking maybe between $7, $8, you know, that range, maybe a little bit higher, but not much. You take that, you know, adjust it for inflation. That should be in 2025 dollars, like, you know, 25, $30, maybe $35, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So, but you're not paying, you know, you cheap tickets are 3 times that. And then not to mention, you know, the price of, you know, spending $12 on a can of beer, or maybe more on a can of beer. And, you know,
Oh yeah.
prices are, it's ridiculous. You want to see a band that you like, you want to have a good time and a good crowd, but then it's like, man, you got to have a big wallet if you want to, you know, enjoy some of these things at shows, you know.
yeah, the
Um,
big arena shows are bullshit. The way the big arena shows, they get you buy the ticket, and then you get to
yeah.
the arena and they want to charge you $50 to park. You already bought the
Oh yeah,
ticket to the
yeah.
show at your fucking place, but now I got to pay. I mean, you always had to pay, but back in the day, it was like $5 at Giant Stadium to pay the park, and you didn't think about it. If you had a couple people like I would put in $1, you didn't even think about it. Now it's
Mhm.
like $50. Something. I mean, you could go to a giant or arena show, and it's more to park than you would go pay for a ticket to go see the band at the Chance or something. It's
Yep.
insane how they get you every little way, and then you got
Yeah.
tolls on the way down. Everything. It's like people are like, oh, you didn't go to this show, you didn't go to this show. It's like, you know what? I got to pay rent this month. It's like, or maybe there's 3 other shows that I'd rather go to 3 other local shows instead of the one big arena show because I can go to 3 shows and have 3 nights out instead of one and not even
Yeah.
be able to buy a shirt at the show because you spent it all on all this other stuff. So you got to get the $10
Yeah.
or $20 one in the parking lot.
That's right.
Yeah, precisely. I actually, so not to get too much off subject, but I went to see Blue Oyster Cult at the Palace Theater in Waterbury. So it's not an arena show, but you know, theater show, whatever. And I didn't know it cost to park there. So the guy said, "Oh, $20." I'm like, "Well, I don't have cash. You take card?" He's like, "No, we don't take card." I'm like, "Well, what am I gonna do?" He's like, "Ah, just go ahead and park." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So worked out in that case, but yeah, yeah, sucks.
The best thing
I
is
just
at the chance in Poughkeepsie, there was a little booth and this black dude would just fucking go in there and he'd start taking money, $5 the car to park at the Chance.
Mhm.
There was never parking. There was never a fee to park at the Chance. I don't know why the booth was originally there, but like this guy would just crawl in there, turn the light on, and he just for years we gave him. I must have gave him a couple $100 throughout the years. You know, everybody just
Oh,
gave me
yeah.
$5. I found out years later that somebody busted him. Like, who's charging money in the parking lot? This guy did this for years, and it was always the same guy. It's like chubby black guy
Yeah.
up there,
Yep.
and for years he gave here's your $5, you know, and then you park. But it turned out there was never any fee, you know.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's true.
funny.
I never remembered paying to park there, so I don't know when they finally, maybe the first time I went there, maybe they already caught him or
The guy
whatever.
made thousands of dollars throughout the years because he
I
didn't do
bet.
it just like
Definitely did.
it was like, and it was weird how sometimes you go to a Chance and there was nobody in the booth. Oh, it's free parking
Right.
tonight, and we'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, we got to pay tonight. The lights on in the booth, we got to pay because it was like the guy probably made so much money on one show, he would only do it like once every month or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe he didn't.
So
Yeah,
talking
maybe he
about
didn't want to get
prices
caught.
and stuff, Christian, is weird because say in Norway now, I'm going to see a band and Dying Fetus and Slaughter to Prevail back in January now next year, and that's $65. That's those three bands. On the
Mhm.
same day, on a different venue, you got Corpse Pile, Inferni, 200 stab wounds, and Cryopsy for one night for $35.
Mhm.
Same night is a Thursday.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's how weird it is. It depends on the venue because the venue
Yeah,
Cryopsy is playing on is smaller. So you would think it's more logic that they need more money than a bigger venue that will take it with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's because it's the big venue that takes a lot of money. The smaller one takes less.
I tell you
Logically,
what, the band is charging
Kind of
too.
what I
The
was saying.
band might be
Yeah.
charging more. You know, the bands on the one bill might be charging more as the headliner and stuff. You know, they all charge different prices. So
All right. So I'll go to my number 3 now, a pet peeve, and this is something maybe some people in the audience do this or watching, or maybe some people do this, but listening to the band that you're gonna see the day of the show, especially like in a parking lot, it's just a pet peeve. I can't do it. I can't. It's like I'm going to see these guys. I don't want to listen to them today. I'll listen to them like leading up to the show. Days after the show, I'll listen to a lot, but I don't want to listen to the day. But when you go, especially like to a larger show, and you walk people by in the parking lot, you're going to see Priest, and you hear someone like blasting, breaking the law, like when you're walking by. It's like, oh come on, man! Like, can't you just put on something different? Listen to some Maiden right now. Listen to something similar. Don't listen to the same band. I've always been a pet peeve of mine.
I'm totally guilty of that. I listen to the band if
I
it's a
figured
big
someone had
show.
to be guilty of that
If it's a
here.
big show, I get what you're saying though. But if it's a big show, I mean, like a big band and it has a big discography, I'll listen to the whole discography that month. But then the day of the show, I'm usually bringing the few albums that I didn't listen to as much as the other albums.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like doing is checking the set list. People like as soon as a tour gets announced, here's the set list. I don't want to. I want to be surprised. I mean, I'm not going to not go to a show. I mean, maybe if you hear that the set list is all shit you don't like or whatever. But I know so many people that get the set list right away, and they're like, then it'd be kind of weird. Like you don't. I play like the more obscure albums that they probably won't even play a song off of just
Yeah.
because I want to.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying. I've had people in my car going to concerts being like, "We're gonna go see him in an hour. Why are you playing this?" And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's my first 3.
I am totally with you there, Christian. When I'm about to go see a band, I'll listen leading up, but then like 3, 4 days before the show, I don't want to hear that band at all because
Yeah.
I want it to be fresh that night at the show, and I want to be like super excited, and I haven't heard it in a little bit, and that I'm the same exact way. I don't like. I just went and saw Crowbar last Monday. I didn't listen to any Crowbar like 3, 4 days before the show. I was like, I don't want to hear him at all. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going into Crowbar like I just want to hear him that night, and that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
just
we're
did a
gonna go.
ranking of that too, so you just listened to their whole discography for
Yes,
the
I did.
ranking. But
That was a fucking good show too, man. Um, so we're gonna go with my three. One of my big ones is I hate the Metallica hate. I just hate it. I always have. I sometimes I get there's sometimes where I'm on the internet on social media and I've had a few of these in me. Your boys had a few of these. And I see somebody talk shit about Metallica, and I almost feel like I have to defend them and stand up for them. And it's because I love the band so much. And I understand why they get hate because they're so fucking big, because they're massive, so I understand it. And I understand it from the point of view of a lot of old school dudes like Count Ralphus who grew up with them and knew them with Cliff and knew them when they were just a thrash band. And that was it. And they were not just a thrash band, they were the king of thrash bands. They were the fucking thrash band. They were the guys that fucking started it. But ever since I was a kid, like I got into them with the Black Album, and the dude who taught me how to play guitar was 10 years older than me and knew the old shit and grew up with the old shit and was always breaking my balls. You listen to that fucking Black Album all the time. That's pussy music. That's fucking, they sold out. They got so slow. They're not a thrash band no more. They're fucking bullshit. So that, and then getting like the older stuff, of course I love it. I love everything Metallica has done except for the Lulu album. That's the only thing I can't get into that they've done, and that's mostly because I can't stand fucking Lou Reed. But even Saint Anger's got songs on it that I really do actually like. um so my thing is like seeing things, like I don't know if you guys have ever scrolled through social media and seen like a picture. It's the black and white picture from Ride the Lightning, and it's Cliff standing next to Lars, and it says it should have been Lars. That is so shitty, man. I hate seeing that. That's so like way to take a fucking tragedy and just make it like worse. Honestly, I can't fucking like Lars is a huge part of fucking what Metallica was and what Metallica is. So, like, would it be any better if he was gone? Would it really? Another thing I can't stand is people who say Metallica died with Cliff. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. Metallica didn't fucking die with Cliff. They got bigger without him. I love Cliff Burton. He's my favorite bass player of all time. He's one of my favorite human beings that ever existed. And I didn't even fucking know Metallica when he was alive. Just reading things about him, reading interviews with him, watching video of him. There was a really cool book that came out called To Live Is to Die, where this
Mhm.
dude just did like awesome background stuff working, to get the book done about Cliff, where it really makes you fall in love with him as a person. I love Cliff. Metallica didn't die with Cliff. Suck my dick. How about that? Um, I also can't stand the fucking Mustaine wrote 'em all thing. I'm sure you guys have seen that, where they take the cover of Kill 'em All and put Mustaine's name and it says wrote 'em all. But Mustaine didn't write them all. He wrote a couple songs on Ride the Lightning. He wrote a fistful of songs on Kill 'em All, and they weren't the fucking big songs. So shut up. And another thing I can't stand is if you watch current Metallica live videos and you go into the comment section on YouTube, Lars sucks. Kirk sucks. All Kirk does is fucking lean on the wah pedal. Fucking Lars can't play double bass. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Because obviously you're fucking not. Kirk does lean on the wah pedal a little bit, but Lars does fucking play double bass. He's not playing like a monster like he was on fucking And Justice for All and Master of Puppets. No, he's also a fucking older dude. So shut up. Eat my fucking balls.
Yeah, I gotta say on Metallica before you go to the next thing is
Sure.
so yeah, it's like a trend. That's another part of like what I was saying about the trend. Sometimes the trend is everybody just saying the same thing. Like I remember
Yeah.
when everybody just turned on Slayer at one point, and it's like all of a sudden, like Slayer had the one album that people thought they did a little bit something different with their sound. So it was like so trendy to be like, now we hate Slayer. Now, and
Yes.
it's Metallica got it worse than any band. The whole thing about Lars not being able to play drums, it's like when I was a kid, fucking Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets were godly albums. Now all of a sudden, years later, everybody's saying you can't play the drums. But how is it that we all loved those albums back then? I never heard anybody say anything about his drumming. And if anything, on Injustice for All, like from the video, you get to see his feet moving and stuff. And like he even got known to be better even as a drummer, like from that on
Yes.
that album. Maybe people say it's even like his best drumming and stuff. So years later, it's all like once that Saint Anger came out and had that stupid drum sound on the couple songs there. That's when it was like the trend started. Now it's like, and also like the whole what was it called, Napster. They
Napster.
fucking that was another time where everybody just seemed to turn on them, but they did fucking let a lot of people down with like the look of Load and Reload. That era where all of a sudden they just all shaved, got the short hair, and they wearing makeup and just being like so different than what we all love. I think that had more to do with it than anything. But because of the trend, people like even when Death Magnetic came out, I was like, all right, they're coming back. They're metal again. I was into it, but people like, nope, they can't. Even like Kira, he can't forgive them, like or whatever. And it's like, I wanted to always like them because they were such an important band to me as a kid, and it just like I seen that trend thing happen. So I heard I was on. I don't want to bring up like any people's names, but like I was on an episode with somebody doing something, and it was like they talked about an album that I like, and I could tell they never even heard the album, but the word on the street was they suck without these members in the band. And I don't even want to say the band because then it would come out, but it was like, and he goes, it sounds like Green. Well, he was trying to make it sound like some real shitty music, and
Right.
I was like, this guy never heard the fucking album. He wouldn't be saying that, but it's the trendy thing to do. It's like
Of course.
this is where the herd is all going this way this week, and now we're going this way. It's like fuck that. Anybody who
Yeah.
like even like people who watch our shows and stuff like that, I don't expect anybody to change their way of thinking because of what we say. You got to be an idiot if
Sure.
you follow what anybody says like that. It's like we're just discussing stuff, but we don't say you're wrong or right about what you like or whatever. But that whole way, that's like an extra part of the trend thing that I was saying is the way
Right.
that's the sheep herd mentality goes from the next thing. And you see it like crazy on social media. It's like people are afraid to say that they like Lars's drumming because 800 people are going to say, oh, you're wrong or whatever. Fuck you.
Right.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you brought the Slayer thing too. I that totally went over my head thinking about this. I remember being a teenager and like when Divine Intervention came out, if you said Slayer sucked back then, you would get fucking punched in the face. Like you'd literally get punched in the face. If you were talking to your metalhead buddies and you were like, dude, Slayer sucks, you would get fucking hit for that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it became this cool thing to go, Kerry King can't play guitar.
Yeah,
Fucking
he's the Lars Ulrich of the band. He's all of a sudden it's like everybody focused on Kerry King. You didn't hear nobody slagging anybody else in the band. It was all Kerry King, and it's happened to so many bands.
yeah,
I've seen it happen to so many bands throughout the years, and it's just that herd sheep mentality that just follows what everybody else has said because they want to fit in with the majority of idiots.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, totally. So that's one that I can't fucking
I can
stand.
pitch in on the Metallica thing because I'm just as old as you. So I grew up with the Black Album and so forth and so forth. But um, what frustrates me about Metallica in a way is that they know how to make great records. Bright Lightning, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All, and Justice. They know how to. So, but they choose not to. They can if they want to, but they don't. For me, that's, I don't know. It frustrates me a bit, to be honest.
I don't think they really can the way, like, after making millions and millions of dollars stuff, they I feel like sometimes they're trying hard to go back, but James can't sing the exact same way. Not saying it's horrible how he sings or whatever, but it's just, he's just not the same kid that he was back then with that fury in his voice. But it's hard to go back to who they were back then after being the biggest metal band on the planet. I mean,
True.
it's definitely got to affect you, you know. So
Yeah. And you know what, they did what they did what they did at the right time, and like they had an opportunity to make to record an album that just became massive. And I was talking to a friend of mine about this. It's like, yeah, they did that, but being poor sucks. So they took an opportunity to become a this massive popular band. So even if you don't really like the Black Album or whatever came after, the low, it's like, there's no denying like the success that they had. So it's like, if you were in that position, would you have said no, or would you have just been, yeah, okay, let's give that a try and see how it goes.
I think
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that they were so many people's favorite band that for them to go in any kind of we like you how you are, don't change, and then like it only happens to bands like that. If it's a band that no one really gives a shit, they can experiment all day long and no one's gonna cry about it. They might even become more of a fan. But when it's a band that you cherish so much, it's like, that's
Mhm.
why, like, Slayer tried to always kind of keep it in the same ball field all these years. Some people say, "Oh, you're making the same album over and over again," but that's what, like, the fans really didn't want them to change. But Metallica is such a cherished band. As soon as they do something a little different, like, I think people could have accepted the Black Album after a little while and hearing it all. But I think a lot of people heard the one or two songs and they just judged it and they were done with Metallica. But it's funny with Metallica too, is like people that worship Kill 'Em All. When Ride the Lightning came out and they heard Fade to Black, they said sell out, sell out. They
Yeah.
called them sell out. So it's like, I mean, that's because they were such an important band that people get affected that way.
Yeah, you see an interview with Cliff back then when they were like, oh, people said because we brought out the acoustic guitars, we're selling out. So people were even calling them sellouts back then,
Yeah,
which
the
is
second album.
fucking crazy.
Yeah. And
Well,
it's like,
well,
to me, it's the best
here's the
album.
deal too with the story around that, because they got all their equipment got stolen. They were
Right.
living at our dude's near place that was giving their God grace so that he could stay, or they would be on the street. And they saved a few guitar, and one of those guitar was acoustic guitar. What else are you supposed to do then when you just have
Yeah.
that? You have lost everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you gotta, I don't know, you gotta look past some things. But back then you didn't have internet, so it's kind of a different world.
Yeah, that's very true. I can't wait to do a Cliff Burton tribute episode.
Next
What do you
year.
guys what do you guys think about that? Leave a comment about that. Do you want to see a Cliff Burton tribute episode? Because I can't fucking wait to do one.
And what's his death date? His death date in September, right? So it's actually
It's
coming up.
coming up, yes.
So that's
It
the
is
time to
coming up.
do it, is either then or do it February 10th, his birthday.
Yeah.
Because same,
No,
same
I
birthday.
definitely next month want to do a Cliff tribute.
Yeah, next year will be 40 years. Holy cow.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
So another thing that grinds my gears about metal, what grinds my gears, is being told that it's fucking noise.
Hmm.
And I've been hearing that since I was a kid. I actually just heard it not too long ago. I tried to book a show over here in my hometown of Bethel, Connecticut. That was going to be um, like a charity show. We were going to try to get toys for tots, like kind of thing going on, where the price to come in to see the bands would just, bring an unopened toy to come see the show. And the owner of the business looked me in my face and told me, "Your fucking noise will drive my regulars away." And he's lucky he's still got his fucking teeth. I can't stand hearing that. You know, that there's a way you could say it professionally. And there's a way you could say, just that's not what we're looking for here, you know. But that whole it's just noise thing, that reminds me of like my mother in the kitchen fucking making breakfast and going, "Turn that noise off." That's what you sound like. You sound like an old fucking yenta going, "It's just noise." So that's another thing I can't stand about being a metalhead is having to hear that
My
bullshit.
aunt got
How
a
do you
record
know
player.
what they're saying?
It's funny what you're talking about because in 1963 my aunt got a record player and she got Beatles, and my grandpa turn off that noise,
Yeah,
according to my mom.
yeah, yeah. It's been since the dawn of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Been since the dawn of rock and roll. So that's another thing I can't fucking stand. I'm gonna echo Ralph here because I want to keep my last two because nobody said my last two yet. But I'm gonna echo Count Ralphus and say I fucking hate crowd killing. Hate it. And there are times, much like Count Ralphus, where I'll watch a video of it happening and I'll kind of laugh a little bit. Um, but if you're in the middle of that shit, especially if you've got your significant other with you, now I remember crowd killing starting in like 2008 or 9, kind of when like metalcore was like really the shit with like Unearth and bands like that kind of fucking coming out. It's bigger with like a lot of the slam death bands now. I've noticed that that's the thing, you know, to do. But man, I I played a show in Danbury, Connecticut. It must have been 2008. It was at this spot called Billy Baloney's. I wonder if Christian remembers that spot.
I've never heard of that place. No.
Never heard of
No,
Billy
I've never-
Baloney's?
You know, the only place I ever went to out in Danbury for a show was Tuxedo Junction. I know
Okay.
they
Yeah.
were a bigger venue, but that was
Yeah, that was a
20
bigger
years.
spot. That's actually where I saw my very first concert.
Oh, cool.
But Billy Baloney's was right down the street, and it was this little fucking sweat box. You could maybe get 100 people in there, maybe 120 people. And I remember playing a show with a bunch of metalcore bands and being I mean, I couldn't have been further back if I was outside the venue, all the way back by the door with my girlfriend. And this kid's got all the room in the fucking world to mosh. And here he comes with the karate kicks and throwing punches. And he was significantly younger and smaller than me, but I grabbed him by the fucking throat and I threw him across the fucking venue. And then here comes a bunch of his little pipsqueak fucking homeboys trying to get in my face. And I'm like, dude, he almost kicked my girlfriend in the fucking face. Well, it's a show, man. Fuck you, it's a show. Mosh there. I'm all the way back here by the door. I could be outside in my fucking car and you throw a kick and I'm grabbing your homeboy and choke slamming him. So eat my fucking dick. I hate crowd killing. That fucking shit annoys me to no end, to no fucking end. And it destroys the show because, like Ralph said, you're trying to watch the band, you're trying to get into the music, and you can't. You can't even watch the fucking stage. You got to watch these asshole kids fucking kick flipping and pulling fucking stupid wannabe Bruce Lee moves. And it's fucking annoying. And it really grinds my fucking balls.
Yep, they like even like a lot of the stage diving. Like I remember it kind of starting off with more of like a stage diving thing, But the way they were doing it, they weren't being like respectful. Like they weren't diving out into the crowd. They were like doing a flip and trying to kick someone in the face as they came down. Like
Yes.
they were like trying to kill people. Like, you know, and that ruins clubs. They get sued for fucking injuries and stuff. It's just stupid every way you look at it.
Yeah.
And it actually reminded me of this show. It wasn't a crowd killing show. It was like just a good moshing show, but the place was a tiny little shithole. It was a place called Popeyes in Peekskill. I don't know if you ever went there, but you've
That
been
was
there?
my home away from home, boy.
Wow. So I went to a show there. I think it's the only show it's the only show I ever went there. It was Misery Index, Mortician, and DRI headlining.
Yep.
And
I was at
it
that.
was fucking packed as hell. In that show, when DRI came on, there was a guy in there. He looked like a professional wrestler. He was like, I don't know, 6'7", 6'8", but he was fucking big, you know. He wasn't like all jacked. He was just a huge dude, you know. And he's in there and he's just moshing around. And it was such a small room that every time he came to your side, you just got crushed against the wall. And I was in there with my wife and stuff, and it was like, it was so crazy. And this guy just kept fucking moving around, banging into everybody, and the whole show became him. Like you could not watch the show; you just watched out for this giant dude crushing everybody. And at one point, I was like drinking, so I was really like so close to just like tripping him and then just stomping on his head, you know. Like I wanted to trip him because he was ruining the show, and I was thinking like everybody else would probably jump in on me and we'll all trample him to death, you know. But he fucking just would. He wouldn't fucking stop. And I remember we were watching the show, like looking through the door, trying to watch the show, and it was just like no one tripped him, no one took him out, and he just totally annihilated the pit. It was just one dude, and it was like no one
Yep.
did nothing about it. But
I was probably standing right next to, so you went outside and were like watching through the door.
yeah, because it was like, I mean, we watched the other bands. I remember right up close, and the guy wasn't in there, or he wasn't moshing. But when DRI came on, that was his band, and then it wasn't even moshing. He just going running back and forth, and he was pushing like 15 people into the wall every time he moved. You
Yeah.
know, and he just crushing people left and right, and it was like this sucks. And we were like, fuck it, we'll listen to it right outside the door. Everybody's like hanging out, drinking outside. It's one guy in there just banging into the walls.
I was probably standing right next to you trying to watch through the door. I was at that show. I loved Popeyes, man. That was such a cool little fucking spot, man.
It's cool if there's nobody in there, like if it's like a local bands and stuff, and it's like not packed.
Yeah.
But any little room that gets packed, I can't stand. That's like a pet peeve of mine. Like that St.
Yeah.
Vitus place down in Brooklyn. Everybody loves St.
Yes.
Vitus. It was like the new CBG. It's like I get in there and you're in the room, and then you're just stuck and you can't move. Everybody's crammed into this one little section there. Fucking even CBGBs, that sucked. The
Yeah.
stage was so low to the ground that if you're standing in the back, you just seen the tops of guitars and the heads bouncing, and it was more you would
Right.
see legs and stuff from people slam dancing. But if you didn't get right up there, you really didn't see the show. It was like you had to squeeze up there, and I hate little clubs like that. It's great when it's not packed, but if they're packed
Right.
little clubs, they suck. So that could be an extra pet peeve right there, you know. That's like I was saying, we could do a whole episode on just concert
Oh
live
yeah.
experiences and shit, you know. But
I
all right,
tell you
so
what though, man, we had Goat Whore there a couple times and it was packed, but there was no bullshit like that. There was no
yeah,
crowd killing stuff. It was it's Goat Whore. You're not, I mean, you're moshing a little bit, but there
yeah,
was no dickheads in the crowd for those two shows.
yeah. They
Those were
definitely got the
fucking
slamming
good bands.
parts, but they're kind of more of a headbanging band, you know. So
Yeah.
everybody, and if you're all squished in there, it's like it just like that guy that was doing that at the DRI, like he couldn't tell that he was just fucking driving everybody nuts, and nobody would
Right.
say nothing to him because he really looked like a fucking professional wrestler. So it was like
Yeah.
no one said anything to him, and I look back, I was thinking like just drop a beer bottle and like maybe he'll slip on it or something. We were thinking of all sorts of shit. And then we just said, fuck it, we'll watch it from outside. But all right, so my two now.
We got to
All
go with
right, so
Ovi, man. Ovi hasn't done his yet.
duh. I thought it was back to me. I thought you go last. You usually go
Well,
last. That's why. It's
I
because you
usually
usually
do,
go.
but yeah, I
Yep, good.
usually do. But
Okay.
Ovi said he wanted to go last tonight.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep.
yeah, I just don't get the feel. Well, something that pisses me off to no end is when I grew up. you would listen to the older people. They talk about metal, they talk about this, they explain to you how things are. Nowadays, the upcoming metal generation tells you that you're wrong, tells you that things were different than you experienced, than you grew up. And they will
Yeah.
give you shit, like personal attack, if you don't agree with them. And it's like, say Abbath's last album, it's like they say the production is so bad and stuff, and it's like I try to tell them that he is staying true to what sound he likes because he produced the album himself. And it's like, do you really think that Abbath, after like being in the game for fucking 30 years, would purposely produce the albums that to a sound that he didn't like?
Right.
Oh no, but it's so bad, things it's so badly done. You don't understand. Black metal is not supposed to be that way. Yep. I
I
fucking
feel you.
hate those. I fucking hate those fucking punks. I wish. Oh, but yeah. So that's one of my things I don't like. Second thing I don't like now, that's worse than ever. It was bad. It depends on the label, but it's the labels now they are so like steering the bands into arena sound, arena popular sound. It's like they want, if a big band is doing it great in arenas, they will take your sound, twist it around a bit, and kind of shove it to what direction. So you lose all your integrity, all your kind of creativity, your love for the music. You just write something that's 2 frets different from what the other band does. So it sounds similar.
Right.
And it's like big labels, like I don't want to hang out a certain label that's in trouble right at the time, but it's a certain label that we all know about, that's been reading about at the same times. It's like they have become so big that they are molding the bands, and it's like it's not that way it's supposed to be. It's like you're supposed to finance the creativity in different bands to reach different people. And that irritates me so much because it ruins the whole metal scene in a way, because it becomes so monotone, it becomes so similar. It's like you got to go like into Count Ralph's level to go on small clubs to find originality nowadays. And it's like
Yeah.
it's and now they are going to be independent and stuff, because independent is the way to go because of what the labels does. Then of course the prices goes up, and now people don't want to pay the postage to like for the merch or for the CD or whatever. I mean, you got to support. If you love a band, you support the band. You if you don't do it, it won't be anymore. That's the whole living breathing function of metal, is support your fucking band.
That's right.
If the postage is heavy, find 2 3 bodies, order together, and split the fucking postage. Then
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
be metal about it. Grow up, fucking wankers. And the,
Well,
and the third
talking
thing I
about,
don't like,
wait,
huh?
before you go to the next thing, um, talking about like that kind of goes along with the trends thing that I was saying before too, but I forgot to mention like how much pressure the labels did to make those thrash bands all go, we want you to have like, we want you to be the next master of puppets, Metallica. Like it was the labels that did a lot of the pressuring, but for those bands to
Yeah.
go along with it, I think it was definitely the labels a lot of times were like, we look at this Motley Crue, they're on every album cover or every magazine cover. We want that for you. So here's what you should do, and go get a perm and wear this mascara and shit. It's like, but it's definitely the labels. But that was the thing that I loved about the underground, was no one was making tons of money, so there wasn't like, oh, you got to go burn a church because these guys are burning churches over here and they're selling big, so you gotta, it was like in the underground, it was like no one's pressuring you like that, really. No one's saying
Yeah. True.
anything, let you do it. But with the more, wherever there's money, there's going to be idiots that try to push you towards the money.
That's true.
Yes, my third thing goes to bands, kind of in general, is that when they just play the song. There's gonna be something on Ralph touched about too, but they play the same set list now the whole tour. I mean, what's the point? Is that fun to play the same thing every night, or is it more fun to kind of throw in some songs that you don't play, that maybe some people, oh, that's a cool song, I haven't checked that song out, and kind of, and you play like 8 songs out of our album 20 years ago, and you have a new album out that you give top 1, 2 songs out of. I mean, you're supposed to play 2, 3 songs of the album that's coming up to
Yeah.
get people into that album. No, they don't. They just play the all they play backwards. And for people to discover the current state of the music they are growing up with, I mean, I understand bands wants to have the sharing and they want people to enjoy the songs they play, but show some fucking confidence, some backbone, play your new stuff. If it works, it doesn't work, you get a feel of the fucking crowd instead of doing all the just going by the safe. You just driving it safe all the way. It's like, take some fucking chances, bands. Just get out there, do something, be yourself, have have something to look up to, have something like the fans are supposed to follow you, the bands are not supposed to follow the fans. That bugs me
True.
a lot.
True. Yeah. I like when I go see a band and they play a couple or at least 3 songs off the new record. Like, I'm going to see it because you got the new record out and I like the new record. Play a few songs from it.
Yeah.
Especially if you've seen a
Well,
band 100 times and now it's like you see
Right.
them do all the hits over and over again. You want to see them do the new songs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, when you
New
play the
album,
song for things coming up, what did you say, Christian?
I said, unless it's a case where you go out, you get the new album, and you're like, man, this album kind of sucks. I don't know if I really want to hear it. But
True.
generally speaking, like if I get a new album from a band, there's songs I like, of course I'm gonna want to hear a couple songs off of that. It's always good to
Of,
hear.
of course, it's got to be a two-way thing, but I understand what you're saying, but it has to be a two. You gotta listen to the crowds to some extent, of course. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Play songs that are upcoming to the next album. Get a feel what people. Is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Get like
Right.
a little feel on it. Don't ask them, but just look at their natural reaction in kind
Back
of.
in the 70s, bands did that all the time. They play 5 songs that you never even heard that's coming an album coming out next year because they wanted to feel like should this make the album? Let's see the crowd reaction.
Right.
Pink Floyd was playing everything from Dark Side of the Moon like 2 years before the fucking album came out. They were playing pretty much all those songs.
And it's a
Yeah.
milestone that's been for 50 years. So that's what I mean. Band needs to show a little backbone and they need to be a little on it. But then again, you have the labels that kind of sterilize that urge.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a collapse in a way that the independent scene and like you're like going independent and you have like companies that will distribute and make your merch and kind of like, but you're the boss. But
Right.
you hire people to help you along the way, but you don't. But you're the boss because that makes you. It's like interesting too because it's your thing. It's yours. It's you can do what you want. You can actually create something instead of being told what the fuck to do. Because then the labels can just go AI and they have everything done.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
I know like Hatebreed plays a different set list every night, and they have it in a way that
That's awesome.
their thing is that they know their songs. They don't have to
Yeah.
rehearse them. They don't have to rehearse them to play their songs. They could play them any night. You throw out a song to them, they'll be able to do it out of their whole career. Like, I mean, out of their whole discography. Not many bands could do that. I think the big problem with set lists is with the bigger bands is like take a band like Iron Maiden. This is a perfect example. Is I go to the Ozfest, Black Sabbath cancels. They're supposed to be headliners. Iron Maiden's the opener, but Iron Maiden had it in their contract that they were only going to play songs up to 1985 or whatever, up to like Power Slave. That was like in their contract for that some reason that year. So when Black Sabbath cancels, Iron Maiden's the headliner for tonight, and they say, "Oh, you can get a refund and whatever," but no one's gonna leave. You're already there, and Iron Maiden's about to come on. So Iron Maiden plays their regular opening set. They don't play one fucking extra song, and the problem is their show is set up as here's the backdrop for the Trooper, so we're playing the Trooper. The next backdrop comes up, we're playing this song. Their whole show is every song has a different theme, and it's all the backdrop changes, the video shit that they got, like any bands that have programmed video stuff going on behind them. So everything is, it's got to be these songs the whole tour. They won't have a single different song throughout the entire tour. But this is a band, Iron Maiden. These songs were 30 something years old. They could have played some songs. Oh, we didn't practice those songs. We didn't rehearse those songs. These songs are 30 years old. You shouldn't have to practice them. And if it doesn't sound
That-
great, you could say, "Oh well, we haven't practiced this one for this tour, but we're gonna do it anyway." They could have. We came out of the Ozfest that night. It was like fucking 9:30 at night. It was like over. Like they didn't do any extra songs. I bring this up other times, and people just like seem to forget this whole story that I'm bringing up. I bring it up before, and people just don't seem to remember that way. Like they just remember Iron Maiden were great and everything, but they didn't play a long set. It was fucking quick, and it was like they didn't. And I remember reading in an interview, it was like, yeah, we were told we could only play these certain songs, so we didn't have anything rehearsed. So it was like that was it. But that's the whole thing with underground bands with no backdrop changing or not. They should be able to play any song. It shouldn't have to be the whole tour being one song. I mean, the same
Yeah.
songs, like how Hatebreed does it. But I can't really even think of other examples where I know bands will change a couple songs here and there just to keep it fresh throughout the tour. But I don't know any band that does a different set list every single night like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
But even with Iron Maiden, to like, okay, you got your video backdrop and your flag backdrop for certain songs. Like, dude, you can't drop just like your logo banner behind you and just do
exactly,
like
exactly, exactly.
Sanctuary
They could have
fucking
turned the fucking lights off, made it all black in the background. Give us 5 fucking
yeah.
songs of just Maiden playing. No one would have fucking gave a shit about their
Nobody
fucking
would have
Eddie
given
running
a
around.
fuck.
Oh, we don't have a plastic Eddie to run around in the background for this song. It's like, who gives a fuck? We
Right.
just want to. We love the songs. They could have just made them shitty or whatever. We would have all loved it. And
Yeah.
they just, I thought of it as a real letdown, and I seem to be the only one that remembers it that way, and it was let down so much. But my friend that we bought his ticket for that show to drive to that show, and he only liked Black Sabbath. He wasn't a big metalhead, but he liked Black Sabbath, and he drove the whole thing and everything. And it was like they didn't even
Oh,
play.
that
So
sucks. That sucks for him.
all right, so I'm gonna go my next one. All right, so the bands that I go to see live, and especially during fucking election season, this was the worst during election season, is that these bands all of a sudden want to lecture you about politics, and they're not political bands. Like if you go to see the Dead Kennedys and they talk about politics in between, you should expect that.
You expect
A
that,
lot,
yeah.
and if you're a political band of any type, and we bought your albums and we know that that's what you're about, then go ahead, be your political band. You could say whatever you want in between songs, but to see a death metal band that you can't even understand their lyrics when you're listening, even a veteran death metal lover, some bands you can hear what they're saying, but other bands you can't hear what they're saying. You read the lyrics and it's like all this gore-filled lyrics, but then in between the songs, they're going to tell you about how you should think about abortion. And then the next song in between, so I don't even want to go into like things, but they go into these political rants, and it's like, man, we're fucking
I know
here
what band you're
death
referring
metal.
to. I know what
Well,
band you're
yeah,
referring to.
Obi always heard me actually talk about the specific band that I don't buy their albums no more. So, but yeah, it's like I just got sick of it. It's like it's one thing if I pay for a political band, and go ahead, but I don't need to hear about fucking the board. And even if I agree with whatever you're saying and stuff, like it's just like I'm not. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not a. I'll go to one of your stupid fucking political rallies they have every fucking two weeks during election time, every week or whatever. But I'm not there for that, and a lot of people ain't there for it. It's a fucking turn off. And even if your songs are about that, if you're singing in that total guttural fucking voice and stuff, you could be singing about that stuff and it won't matter because it's just like another like instrument, but when you're in between the songs, you're gonna go on and on about how who you should vote for and this and that. It's like go fuck yourself. I don't need some fucking musician to tell me who to fucking vote for or some fucking actor or whatever. So my other thing is so my last one is rap and metal. It's like this is when I know Ovi knows that I was gonna probably bring this one up because
You're gonna
yeah,
make me and Ovi mad, brah.
yeah, you guys with your clown posses and shit like that. But I don't care. Like if you like rap, that's it. That's cool. Like whatever the fuck you like. I don't care. I don't like when bands like or something that I really like, and then all of a sudden they put in even like all of a sudden we're gonna do this big country part in the middle of the song. Who the fuck wants it? If I'm listening to like a death metal band or a hardcore band, I don't want you to break it to the country part of the song. If you're doing something like funny and it's supposed to be like a funny part, then that's I guess cool, whatever. It won't be funny after a couple times. It'll be stupid, but maybe the first time it'd be funny. But yeah, so there's been a couple times and it just happened to me recently. So there's this band Fulci. I'm gonna actually kind of call out a band where I haven't been doing, but this band Fulci, I mean the name of the band is it's
Yeah,
after
Fulci, yeah.
Lucio Fulci, the
Oh, okay.
great Italian gore director.
Yeah.
Did a
Mhm.
lot of great movies, and so this band actually like all their lyrics are fucking like the name of this album is Duckface Killings. It's like they're taken from right from the movies, and they're like kind of theme albums, and it's this gore fucking mania. And they've been making a lot of noise. They've been getting on a lot of tours and stuff. So I was like, I got to get one of their albums. I love Fulci, the director, and that is this
Mhm.
old school death metal. I get this album and I'm fucking loving it. It's like that perfect old school death metal, that style that I really love. I'm totally digging it. And then like I forget what song number, I think it was like song 7. All of a sudden this like rap part comes on. And it wasn't like a funny part. It wasn't like he was rapping some like really cool, gory fucking lyrics. Maybe that could have been funny, but it was just like a fucking rap part. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? It just did not make sense. It took the fucking flow of the album out for me. And it sucks because I listened to it again like a couple days later and it was like great again. I was loving it and I kind of forgot about the rap part, but I knew it was out there. And when it came again, I was like, this fucking ruins the album for me. It just fucking so stupid. It doesn't make sense. If anything, they could have put it at the very end of the album or something. But it was like in the song that it's in, it's actually a cool sounding song because then it's like being like old school death metal, and then it goes into this weird rap thing. But before it goes into the rap, it's a good song. So it just doesn't make sense. And another one that did the same thing, this old band, Terror, they're like a big hardcore band from California, Total
Yeah.
Retaliation. I fucking like the earlier album that I got. I seen them live once. I thought they were good. I take a chance at Rock Fantasy one day. I'm in there and I I got extra money and I want to get something else new. So I'm like, oh, this band Terror put out a new album. I'll give this a chance. And same thing. Like I don't even know if it's multiple songs on here because I listened to this one time and I never went back to it. That's how like pissed off I was when I was listening to it. I was like, fuck, this fucking sucks. I just wasted fucking $15. Like I'll go back to the Fulci. I just got to remember what song the fucking or I'll just skip it as soon as that fucking rapping starts. But it makes me not want to run out and get their other albums. I don't think they did it on any of their other albums. I never heard anybody talk about it. It's not like I hear shit about them a lot. But uh yeah, I just fucking hate that. I hate it. I mean, it's one thing if you add a different style of music into a song to make it different and unique, but it's got to be a small, quick little part for me. Like the band Candaria would do some stuff like that too. They would have like little rap parts, but they would have weird little jazz parts, and they were definitely one of those bands taking shit from everywhere. So you kind of expected it a little bit more. And I still don't really like the rap parts of it, but overall, I kind of forgave them, and I would because they were so unique in other ways. So I don't know, maybe it works sometimes and it doesn't other times. But for me, I really fucking hate it. I hate rap the way like when I was a kid in the '70s, it was rock versus disco. And like when I grown up in the 80s and 90s, it was rap versus metal, you know, and I didn't like rap, so I was on the metal side, and that was it. No crossing over for me, you know. But that's it. That's my pet peeves. I do have like an honorable one, but I'll see if
I
one
think
of
the
you
first
guys
time I
might.
heard rap in a song was Body Counts. Body Counts in the House when I
See,
was
that's
12,
different
13.
too, though. But body count, you got a rapper doing a metal band, so it's expected. Like I totally get that. That one, like you know what you're getting into with that. You know where with this fucking Fulci, I just was like, what the fuck is this? Like, did the CD just skip or? Did the radio come on or what the fuck is it? It just came out of nowhere and it's such an abrupt like if it was like a funny thing and like a funny death metal gory rap or something, I don't even remember what he was rapping about because I was just so like mortified that it was like happening that I was like, the fuck, you know. But that's me.
I remember. So, like, are you a fan of the Obituary album Back from the Dead?
Yeah, yeah. That
So
was
there's
another.
like the rap thing at the end of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and they had like a whole rap like project that they did too, you know.
That's right.
But yeah, but yeah, it wasn't like one of my classic Obituary albums, but I do remember. I mean, I have that on CD, and
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it in a while. But yeah, you reminded me. I could have used that as a prop out here too. And there's
Yeah.
probably a couple other ones like yeah, there's a couple other ones that have been out there, but like you know when Slayer and Ice T got together and did exploited songs, that I didn't have a problem with that. Like I don't.
Yeah, that was great.
Because it wasn't like rapping; it was like a rapper playing metal or punk, hardcore punk
Right.
and stuff. So, like, it's not like that. It's just it's such two different styles of music, and you're infected. One's getting infected by the other, to me, you know. But I know people will be like, "Yeah," but you know, the whole new metal thing. I mean, they had a ton of rap stuff in there, so that is a whole like
Oh, yeah.
genre that was like that. So I look at it as like, yeah, let that be in new metal. I just don't like that whole style. Don't infect my death metal or imagine a fucking black metal fucking rap part. You know, I remember when Rush, they had that little on the Roll the Bones
Well,
fucking
yeah.
Roll the
album.
bones. Yeah.
They did that little rap thing, and to this day, it's still like, ah, I fucking hate it. I can't
Yeah,
stand
that
that.
was pretty terrible.
It just sucks. It doesn't flow with the music. It's like
Yeah.
sounds so dated when you hear it now. Maybe they were being brave and outrageous at the time, but I hate that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. They shoehorned that rap into that middle of that fucking song there because that
Yeah,
was the thing at the time.
yeah. That's what I'm saying about following trends and shit. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
and
it goes back to your trend following thing. It definitely
yeah,
does.
yeah. I keep coming back to everything. That- That's
Yeah,
it for now.
because
I mean, I got to. That,
Back with the Dead, I remember when it came out, it's just not the rap thing itself either, but it's just the redneck stomp. It's the titles, it's the lyrical concept of that album.
yeah.
It's so weird.
And what
Yeah.
they did like a whole. Well, there was that fucking that was there was like a death metal rap guy. He was like the first guy doing. I forget the name what they were, but
Necro.
Necro, and he and John Tardy sang on that. Right, he was part
That's
of
right.
that. Or they did at least a song or something.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I remember hearing that and thinking, oh, this sucks. But at least again, you know what you're getting because you're hearing, oh, this is a death metal rap band. So it's like it's a little different when you know what you're getting, but where you're just like getting a death metal band that's singing metal gore movies, then it just throws me off. You know, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it, and it sucked.
The guy you don't like on the album for Fulci is called TV Crimes, and he is sampling and he does the synthesizers. Also, you have something cool because on track 8 you got a guy called Wood that's vomiting. It's like, and you got saxophone. It's pretty, I don't know, interesting album in itself.
Yeah, like I don't mind saxophones as like a weird experimental thing if it's done like in a way where it's like making it weirder, not making it more poppy or something like that. I wouldn't want saxophones in there if it made it more melodic and stuff. But if it's like discordant fucking uh saxophone, then it could be cool, you know, something weird.
All right. So Christian,
So my next
What are your
two,
last two?
last two. So the first one, this might go a little bit. It might be similar to some of the stuff that we talked about already, but I'm just gonna say it's like elitist type people within the scene. By that
Yes.
I mean their opinion about a band or a particular genre or subgenre or a particular song or an album or something like that. They think that their opinion on it is the only one that's correct. And if you're someone who disagrees with that, they shit on you or they try to say, like, argue with you about how you're wrong.
Yep.
And
Bleeding liberals.
yes, yeah, it's just, for me, it's the douchiest thing that I mean, I guess it could apply to any genre of music, but definitely, it happens in the metal world too, or the hard rock world, and it's like, I come onto this channel, I started watching this channel and other, YouTube channels because, there are people who talk about what we like, but we share our opinions and we don't try to like say like, oh, you're an asshole because you think that, you're an idiot because you think that, you're a poser because you
Mhm.
like this. I mean, yeah, sometimes we might break balls a little bit, but we're not like trying to like, complete or talk about other, what other people
I
might.
see what you're getting at. If you're gonna hang out something, you gotta have a reason for it, and you gotta stand by it. You just don't throw shit to throw shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's like, say, James, he got treated bad. He will say that he got treated bad by a certain person, and he will stand by it because it's an experience he had. It's not something he does to do it. It's a memory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just getting what you're meaning, Christian.
Yeah. Um, and I guess the last thing I'll bring up, this is something I encountered more like when I was younger. I don't know if I encounter it as much now, but it's more like people who think that like because you're into metal and wear, t-shirts like this Satan one that I got from the other, but like they think you're an idiot, you're stupid. And I remember like encountering this more like, as like a teenager, especially because like, the night Beavis and Butthead came out. And I love that show, but they were
Oh
dumbasses.
yeah.
They were stupid, but that was what the show was meant to be. But
Right.
everyone thought like, if you're into metal, like you're stupid like Beavis and Butthead or something like that, you know what I mean? I'm sure all you guys probably encountered that in your life. It kind of goes along with the story you were just saying, about noise. It kind of goes
Yes.
along with that as well. I kind of when I was teenager, I was trying to learn guitar for a while, and like my guitar just like hated like everything about metal. It was like so like hard to try to like go there and learn how to play when you just like, oh yeah, next week just bring in a song like, and I'll listen and try to like teach it to you. And it's just like, he would hate everything. One time I brought in um just to see like how bad I brought in it was like a Black Flag song. And that was like the worst. He hated it. And I'm just like I just wanted to like have something that I knew it was just like you just like fucking despise. But um
Good.
I think it was something off the Damaged album. I think I might have like Gimme Get or something like that, Or
Yeah.
it was Damaged 2. I forget which song, but he's like, oh my god. Like he kind of listened to it and figured out how to play it, but I just like I wanted to make him like listen to it and try to play it because yeah.
Make him cringe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good. Fuck him.
Yeah.
All right. So my last two, I'm gonna go echo Christian and say elitism. I'm fucking so had it with that. Um, I used to be a very big part of a heavy metal club that I will not mention that goes by four initials and wears lots of back patches and stuff. So I'm sure I bet Ralphus can figure out what club I'm talking about. And I experienced a lot of fucking elitism in that, and it really fucking turned me off. Like, I'm not gonna lie about fucking bands that I love. So when if somebody asks me who's your favorite bands, Metallica is always gonna be at the top. Kiss is always gonna be at the top. Motley Crue was always gonna be up there, and just well, that's not fucking metal. Don't you listen to metal? Well, yeah, I fucking do. I actually really fucking do. So I've always just been done with that. Like, because I'm not listening to some esoteric black metal band that three people know about, all of a sudden it's not metal. Because I like to listen to the fucking Black Album once a week. I'm not a metalhead. Eat my fucking dick. Yes, I am. I've been listening to this fucking music for years and years and decades. Been playing it forever. I'm just as metal as the fucking guy who knows the name of the first fucking Burzum demo. So that's gonna be my number two. And my number one is I really fucking hate gatekeeping, man. I work at a record store, so I get a lot of young people that come in and, maybe buying their first metal album is Black Sabbath Paranoid or
Mhm.
Metallica Master of Puppets or Slayer Rain and Blood. And that's all they know. And they'll come up to me and be like, dude, what's cool? Like, what should I listen to? And I don't listen to tons of super mega underground bands, but I'll be like, dude, if you love Iron Maiden, listen to Night Demon. If you like Slayer, listen to fucking Toxic Holocaust. If you like Venom, listen to Midnight. And there's people that don't want to share that information with younger people. And I don't get that, man, because for me, I've always wanted my favorite bands to do well and to sell more records and to sell more tickets and to sell more shirts and to get more likes on social media and get more views on YouTube, all that shit. So if, a young dude is like, oh, I really love fucking Typo Negative. What's a cool band for me to listen to? I'll say, listen to Unto Others because that's kind of in sort of a similar realm. And, I can't stand people who will take their underground thing and go, this is my band and I'm not sharing it with anybody. And you're a kid, so fuck you. You just have to learn the way. You have to, walk your own path and learn your way. When I was a teenager, I used to go to a record store in my hometown, and the guy behind the counter would always be like, oh, dude, all right, I got you to buy the Madball record last week. Check out Vision of Disorder. So I'd find Vision of Disorder. I brought that home and went, oh shit, this is killer. Or, oh, you like Pantera? There's this brand new band called Machine Head. Check out this album, Burn My Eyes. And I brought that home and was blown away. And of course, Machine Head wound up becoming a big thing, but this is at the point when they were fucking nobody, anyways. Nobody cares. But just, I always, because that dude treated me like that and was always willing to hold my hand and tell me about things I didn't know about, I always kind of feel that way too. When there's a younger dude that comes up to me and is looking for advice, I think, yeah, man, fucking check that. Oh, you like Corrosion of Conformity? Check out Orange Goblin. So I'll always throw that out. Now, I hate when people will just hold on to things and just go, no, it's my band and only I can listen to it. Fuck you, man. You really don't give a shit about your band then, because they could be getting more listens and selling more records, selling more CDs, selling more tickets. So that's kind of my top main thing is I can't stand fucking gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping and elitism go together because
They really do.
it's like the elitists, they don't like as soon as a band gets a certain level of popularity, it's not cool to like them no more, which is so
Right.
lame. That's a poser kind of trait too. It's like it's like you love this band, but now because everybody loves them, you can't like them no more. Now you got to go more obscure and more underground, and then you want that band to never sell more than a certain amount of albums and stuff. But they don't realize that that band will disappear because they can't feed them, they can't pay their bills and stuff. So they'll do it while they're young, and then as soon as they got kids and stuff, they're gone because they didn't sell enough albums. So you want your bands to get at some success, or else it's not going to keep going on. Like some of my favorite bands, like I can't imagine how many more albums they would have if they didn't have to work 9 to 5 jobs and stuff, and they could just focus on music. They're the best players I think out there, but they doing spackling in the fucking first 8 hours of their day every day, and then
Yeah.
once a week they could play or someplace or, but the elitism and gate creeping definitely keep and go together for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they definitely do. So that's my fucking last two. Ovi, what do you got?
This is more of what I feel and kind of a question to you guys too at the same time. I feel that a band has a certain responsibility for their fans to behave, to to give the band a good like image, a good like reputation. It's like instead of being like really disgusting to everybody else, and like it's kind of in the same way you're talking. So it was interesting that you brought it up because it's like I feel that when you have a crowd, you have a following, you can't control them all. It's not what I'm saying, but you could, your attitude towards them, your way you talk to them during the live shows affects how they are treating other people. And this is particularly bands that are getting big fast because now everything sounds like our band. So your band is just copying my band. It's like everybody is copying everybody. You shit. It doesn't matter if you have a particular item in the band that some other band has. Just be happy that they're like inspired by each other, and like don't call people fucking this and that because they like they don't like just the same band as you, because it's like, so I feel that bands have a certain responsibility to, yeah, to their fans, because if your fan club is shit, you'll it will destroy your reputation. It will maybe venues will won't take you there because they know what follows you.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
it's kind of molding into what Ralph and you said, but it's like I feel that the band has a certain responsibility for their fans. What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
I think
I feel yes.
for oh, good.
Go ahead, Ralph.
No, go ahead.
I feel yes and no. Um, I feel like it kind of relates to sports players too, where it's like, all right, some sports players have like this thing on their shoulders where they're like supposed to be role models, and there's like a thing there where I kind of also feel like, yeah, but if you're a dick, then you're just kind of a dick. Like, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. I do feel like bands should uphold a certain image, but then I also feel like they're also human beings too, and human beings fuck up sometimes and do dumb shit. And I don't like to shit on people when they do dumb things because I've done dumb things. I've said dumb shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a weird it's a weird gray area there for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about
I
you,
don't
Ralph?
think I don't think you need to be a role model to nobody. And if you're outrageous and an idiot, like people either will like it, some people like it because you're being so stupid and stuff. But when you first started talking about this, I thought you were kind of going in a direction where you were going to say like they have a responsibility to their bandmates, Because to me that makes more sense. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, you had this band Quiet Riot. They fucking first metal band to ever go gold in America, and or no, to ever go #1 in America on the
Yeah.
charts. And the success of this band, they've been out there for years. They had Randy Rhoads in the band. They were out there for years in the clubs and stuff doing it. And now all of a sudden they just explode and they become this gigantic band. The fucking singer, his ego just explodes and ends up saying the dumbest shit. Their next album flops, but people just were instantly sick of this band and just the singer, you know. But poor Rudy Sarzo's in the band. They finally strikes it big, and this idiot can't shut up. And I gotta say, Megadeth, Dave Mustaine, he got the same thing. He wouldn't fucking shut up for years. He would say stupid things. Always had nothing good to say about other bands. He always putting everybody down. People got sick of his fucking attitude. And there's so many other bands like that. It's an ego thing. It's like the one idiot in the band, like Axl Rose, like with
Yeah.
some of the stuff. I know James is a huge Guns N' Roses fan, but how many times Axl fucking or you want to talk about responsibility? Get the fuck on the stage at the time you're supposed to say you're supposed to play. You don't make your
Yes.
wait around for 2 hours. So I guess that'd be an example of what you were kind of saying. So shit like that, yeah, there's you got to have a responsibility for your actions, for your fans, for people that are paying for you. You don't show up fucking where you can't even stand and you're gonna fucking try to sing a whole set where people pay good money if you're a singer. If you're expected, if you're anal cunt, yeah, you could get away with that because people aren't expecting you to sound perfect that night. If
Sure.
you definitely got a, you know, King Diamond or Rob Halford, you don't go out there, you don't go out drinking the night before, smoking all night and stuff, and then having no voice the next day. You got a responsibility. You got people coming from far away to paying, spending their whole month waiting for that show and stuff. Yeah, there's definitely a responsibility, you know.
Absolutely.
What about you, Kristen?
I mean, I'll echo what, these other guys are saying. I think you got to have some, decorum or something, I guess, I don't know about responsibility about being, this perfect person or whatever, but
Well, I'm just telling you to like kind of be a way toward your fans that they don't shit on everybody else, and like you're not your band that you like is like it's just a copy of our band. It's like we are the best and we are this and that, and you just shit on everybody else because they don't think the same as you. And I feel a band kind of that echoes on the band. That makes me don't want to listen to the band because I know what shit heels that are surrounding them. So it's like, but if they have been nice, been more like, oh, you like that band, that's cool and stuff, and and we exchange songs and kind of like, yeah, have a kind of community thing. It's like it's something different else. But when they are so cocky and they are like, we are like, everything else sounds like us. It's just
yeah, it's kind of
I get
annoying.
I get like if that can't be good for the band.
No, no, I don't think so. I mean, and like Ralph was saying, but I mean, the point Ralph said, like Dave Mustaine and Megadeth, like, he's like that, but they're still like really popular. I mean, we just, we ranked all their albums, a couple weeks ago. So, there's still really people still really like them, but then it's like, yeah, there's still people kind of getting annoyed about what some of the stuff
And look
they,
what they do to their other members of their bands too. Like once like it's like one guy's band, it's like all of a sudden that's the problem. Like when people die in a band and stuff, and now all of a sudden there's like one guy and it's his band. He copyrighted the name and everything. Now he's firing people left and right and just being a total control freak. And they end up being like dicks like that, you know. And there's so many bands like that where it's the one guy who owns the name. And there's something that just happened recently that I'm thinking about, but I don't want to bring up the band's name. But they fired somebody that's been like a long time member, and it's like now the singer kind of has free reign. Like no one could, everybody else came after him, so now it's his band because he got rid of the one last member, you know. So shit like that, a lot of competition to be in control and shit, you know.
Being a
yeah.
Megadeth fan though, with Dave Mustaine, I'm not defending what he does or what he says, but he has been this way his whole career. It's not something trendy has jumped on. It's not something he has
No.
changed. He has been this way his whole career. So
That's
I
true.
don't know. So it's kind of like with him, it's kind of like, I don't know. I understand, but at the same time, it's like you're doing so well on your own, so why?
Yeah.
It seems like with them, it's like you know, he gets fired from Metallica, but then he ends up being the same kind of guy firing everybody else. You know, it's like he does the same thing now. He's the in charge, and he's going to do the same thing. When Megadeth first hit, it was like everybody was rooting for him. Here's the guy who got fired from Metallica coming out, killing it with fucking some great albums. It wasn't until he got successful that all of a sudden you just started hearing how big of a dick. To me, I thought he was a dick. Like I think he's a great guitar player, and I love those first two albums. But it was like you very right away you go, yeah, I can see why Metallica said get the fuck out of our lives. You know, you're a fucking asshole. You know, and you know, that's for Dave Mustaine. You know.
Well, they said the reason why it kicked him was because of he was driving under influence and stuff, and so forth, and almost killing them or whatever. But I think it roots down to that same thing we were talking about, that he was kind of taking over Metallica. He was the one talking to the crowd. He was the one getting all the attention in the band, and kind of like left the others hanging.
Yeah, but they wanted that. I mean, James was the front man, but he liked that he was talking. That was a good combination they had going. They were killing it live in that era, so it wasn't like a competition thing because you know James originally didn't even want to be the singer, so Dave could have been the singer back then, but Dave wasn't thinking of being a singer until he had to start Megadeth. That then he realized, yeah, I'm going to be the front man too, you know, because he wanted all the control and stuff. But
I
whatever.
think I'm like, I wonder what. Well, I wonder what there must be more reasons than one, but that's another discussion.
Well, he was a total alcoholic, and he was violent. He was a violent alcoholic.
Yeah.
Those guys were all alcoholics, but he was the one that was throwing punches at people and stuff. And you know, they just got sick of it. You get to be too unruly, you know.
Yeah, there's an
Alcoholic, abusive
interview
dad,
that
that helps.
yeah, there's an interview. I think it was during either the Metallica or the Megadeth behind the music
Oh
where
yeah.
Dave Mustaine himself was like, yeah, it was not a good mix because you got a serious violent drunk with silly drunks,
Yeah, yep.
and that just doesn't work out. So Metallica were the silly drunks, and Dave was the guy that would fucking get the load on and get serious and get pissed off about stuff.
So yeah, it's like I think the media is the media too. There's a reason. I hate metal media
There was no
nowadays.
Yeah,
media on Metallica back then, though. No one knew who they were. They were
Nowadays.
playing little tiny bars when Dave Mustaine was in the band. No one
true.
knew who, like maybe in San Francisco or you know where they were, LA. That's they knew him a tiny bit, but it wasn't even until they moved to San Francisco that they even started really getting any kind of notice and stuff. But so there was no
That's
media.
what
So
my
the media came later on once they both got successful. Then people found out the backstory and stuff. But like people like Steve Levin that was around when that demo came out, he he always says that's his favorite is because he had that demo, and then once you know that lineup split, he didn't even like Kill 'Em All that much. He was like they were already going downhill for him, you know, but because he was there right from the beginning.
So
Fair
that's one
enough.
thing I hate too about today is the metal media. They write in a way that people start to throw shit
Oh
because it
yeah,
gives them likes, it gives them
yeah.
this, gives them that. I mean,
It's
like, oh, it
Yeah,
frustrates me because it's good there and then, but the the impact or the after the what do you call it, aftermath. It's how people become. It's fucking annoying.
yeah,
yeah,
all the clickbait from especially like the certain not so much like Blabbermouth gives you kind of more the main like news, but they'll do some clickbait stuff too. But then like the metal sucks and the other one, I stopped following a bunch of
Mental
them because it was
rejection.
just like this clickbait stuff, and then right away it's everybody dividing, arguing each other. It's like a politics thing, like the way they do the politics and stuff in the metal news and stuff.
yeah.
It's like they
because
just want to
bands
have
don't
everybody.
do.
The more complaining and dividing and arguing, the better their story was. You know, they don't
Yeah,
care. But they're talking about bands that no one cares about. But all of a sudden, it's like some kind of fucking stupid political twist to it, and then it's like they could divide everybody again. Everybody could start fucking complaining about stupid shit that I just fucking like that. There's a site on Facebook where it's like half the stuff that people post on the page is just stuff to get people riled up and complaining. Like they put up certain bands. All these guys all know what the website I'm talking about. I'm sure you
yeah.
all been on it at one point, but it's just like stupid clickbait stuff, and then people just go back and forth, fucking hating on each other. Back in the day, we were a lot more united as a
All
group
right.
because we were such a tiny minority back in the day, being a
Yeah.
metalhead. If you were into underground metal, like you all were united. People weren't complaining about every little thing. And now it's like, man, you got to fucking click everybody's boxes to be okay. Like you can't have done this or that. Oh, he owns a cat instead of a dog. Fuck him. You know, they just
Yeah.
everything stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because bands
Metal
don't use
injection is
drugs
the
anymore. Bands
Yeah,
don't
metal
drink anymore.
injection.
They are nothing to write about because bands are sober. They don't do drugs. They don't do anything on the road that's worth writing about. So they gotta make stories out of nothing.
that's right.
Right in a
So
bunch.
it's time to get the drugs and alcohol back on the table, guys.
Agreed.
So I got one more pet peeve before we go into like the final question is so yeah, these you always see the things like, oh, support your local scene and you gotta support local bands and stuff. And then it's like it's always coming from either people putting on shows, but it's also the bands. So the thing that fucking pisses me off is like I've seen this so many times throughout the years. So a guy's in a local band, support the local scene, support your local band, blah 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 blah. The band implodes, falls apart. You don't fucking see him again until 4 years later. They all of a sudden they got a new outfit that they're support the band, support the local scene, support the band. I'm there since I got into this music. I've never gone in and out. I've just always been there. With clubs closed, the scene dies here, there. I'm still in it. I don't need the scene. I could fucking I go to the city, I'll go to Connecticut, I'll go wherever I gotta go to find it, but I don't need it. I don't depend on it. I don't but it just that's the thing is I've seen guys that have disappeared for 10 years and now all of a sudden they got a band because their kids are grown up, so now they're ready to come back into the scene. They don't have to be the PTA no more or whatever. They want to be a rocker again. Support the local scene. Support. Fuck you. Where the fuck you been for the last 10 years? I've never made anything. I've never like had a job where like I'm working in the music industry. I don't make money. I had a passion for this music. So it doesn't matter what trends come and go or whatever. I'm gonna be there liking it no matter what. I don't need to have something to push or I'm not selling a magazine. I'm not selling a fucking band or this or that. I don't have nothing to make. I just go because I like it. It's something I love. But I see these people that and then another kind of thing that's sort of along with that is you see a musician join a band just because he's the only musician around, and the guy like joining a death metal band because he's the only drummer around, and he doesn't even like this kind of music, but he can play it because he's a great
Yeah.
drummer. And then he's in the band, and like you could just see when you see them, it's like the guy with the fucking Yankee hat trying to play black metal or something. It's like you could tell he doesn't even care for this shit. But last time you see him, he's in his fucking you know Adidas outfit or whatever. Now he's out there fucking playing black metal with black corpse paint on
For the
or some
money,
shit.
for the money.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's filling in, and it's like there's no integrity in that. You should just try to do different kind of band if you can't get a solid lineup of people that think like you're just getting people filled in because they're good musicians and they're the only musician around. That's kind of like a poser type of thing. But that's it. I just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Um, so I guess before we go, our last question that we discussed before we started recording What does being a poser mean to you? Right there, you. To me, I very much agree with Count Ralphus that a poser would be a dude who, for instance, listens to lots of glam, Rat and Dokken, Poison, and all that, and then hangs around his black metal friends and oh no, Burzum is my favorite band in the world, or I'm a big fan of Enslaved, or Dissection, or that. To me, that's a poser, is a dude who puts on the front that they're into something heavier than they really are, and then they go home and listen to stuff that I would listen to. What do you think, Ovi?
Uh, poster for me really is a person that talks loud about something he doesn't know anything about. And people that say like, so what's your favorite Aussie album? And the person like you would say, who? Look
Right.
down on your shirt. I mean, like, you don't know the fucking thing you're wearing. That's for me is, yeah. And you
Yeah.
don't support, well, back in the day it used to be more like, if you don't support your band, pull out, and you just go with them through the good times, and you don't go through the bad times with them, you're a poser, because you're
Yes.
just, yeah.
Yes. 100% agree with that. Absolutely. What do you say,
So
Christian?
Poser. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like just trying to look cool, like, but not being real or authentic about it. Um, there was one dude who has a YouTube channel. I don't know. It's not someone who's been on any of the Rock Fantasy or any other similar channels like Sea of Tranquility or almost like no one that's been in any of those circles, but um he's this guy. He did a lot of these videos called Metal Mythos, like where he does like a whole
Oh, I know that dude. Yeah.
so he does like, and some of them yeah, it's kind of cool. He had this thing to do like a whole history of the band, but he just always like, spouts off his opinions about it. It kind of goes what I was saying for someone who says his
does he have
opinions.
a green logo?
What's that?
Is his logo green
I don't know. I
or
started
channel
watching some
logo?
videos, but the guy just annoyed me too much. I'm like, I can't take this shit anymore.
Yeah, he's a fucking dick.
Yeah,
Uh,
so so one of the videos, well, he did a thing on Iron Maiden, and he was talking about how, you know, Paul Di'Anno was the man and Bruce Dickinson is nothing. He's like, if you listen to Paul Di'Anno now, how great he sounds, as opposed to hearing Bruce Dickinson. And he played like a clip of Bruce Dickinson singing like Ace is High, like, Ace is high, like doing like, 30-second whatever. And then and now listen to Paul Di'Anno now, and he plays like a nanosecond of Wrathchild. It's like, okay, yeah, it kind of sounds like him, but if you actually go and look up that full clip, you could tell like he sounded awful. Sorry. And
Right.
it's like he's just like editing things in a way that supports his opinion. Like if you feel like Paul Di'Anno is a better singer than Bruce Dickinson, that's your opinion, that's fine. But just to try to like edit a whole video on it and just be completely misleading your whole audience is bullshit. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
so
dude's
he watches our
Yes,
channel.
he is.
He watches our channel.
he does
Hmm.
Oh, does he? Good for him.
Yeah,
good.
because I commented on something, and it's like, I know you. It's like, oh, and here's the only place I'm on. So
Yeah, fair enough. Good. Well, if he's watching this, me and Christian thinks he sucks a bag of dicks. How about that?
Yep.
I watched the Wasp episode he did, and I wanted to throw my fucking phone out the window. It was fucking terrible.
I guess he also does like he doesn't just do like metal. He does like I guess like political stuff too. I'm not even gonna
Of
get into any of that here, but
course he does.
Yeah. But he
Uh,
has like a lot of like followers and viewers. I'm like, man, like
he does, yeah, he's got a lot of fucking subscribers, which is crazy. I think a lot of people follow him out of like irony,
probably, yeah.
you know, just because it's like, funny.
Yeah.
Count Ralphus, what does being a poser mean to you?
Like I was saying before when we were talking about it, it was like you know, like you join our channel and you're not afraid to wear your poison shirt because hey, that's what you like. You're not gonna make believe, oh, okay, well, if I'm hanging out with these guys, I gotta, oh, he likes only this and he likes death metal, he likes black metal. I gotta start looking like to fit in. It's like fuck that, that's a poser. But like when I was a kid, it had like a different meaning. Like when I first heard the term, we looked at it as like, the bands that were the poser bands were the bands that were always in the photo shoots and circus and hit parade or magazines with their lips all puckered up like Rat and Dokken and all the glam, and it was all like to look like, to me, Striper, like they look like girls like Poison. They were totally, we thought they were chicks when we first, but they were like posing. So we thought the word poser imposing kind of, I think that's how a lot of us thought of it. Like, but the truth is like they weren't posers because they were saying, hey, this is what we do. We wear fucking spandex and we wear fucking makeup or whatever. They weren't hiding it. It wasn't like, so they really wasn't being posers. The posers would be the people that liked it, but then were afraid to tell their other friends, or the other way around, which is probably even more common, is there's a lot of death metal posers. I mean, you got these fucking bands singing about gore and death and this, and it's like they get a paper cut, they fucking probably pass out, most of them, like a lot of them. There's definitely some diehard, real fucking, you know, people that are into stuff. But even, and the same thing with black metal, there's so many black metal posers. They'll fucking do the satanic imagery and all this stuff, and they've never read a book on the occult. The one guy in the band maybe read occult books and he writes the lyrics. Everybody else just fucking get their makeup on, and then they play their fucking, music and stuff. But it's such a, not that you have to be, it's entertainment. An actor in a satanic movie doesn't need to be a Satanist. So, but it's the ones that try to make believe like they really are. Shit, my dog keeps banging into shit. I think that fucked me up. I don't know if you guys. Oh, I thought I was
You're
off.
all good.
Yeah, I can still see you.
Fucking knocked into it like 3 times this episode. But yeah, just fake people, and they're, a lot of the gatekeeper and elitist people are like that too, because they're just following what they think is cool. Instead of being having original thoughts and stuff, they gotta go with the sheep. A lot of sheep are fucking posers because they don't have a brain of their own, so they're just fake. That's it.
It's like if I ask James, like, so how do you like No More Tears? What? What is that?
What's No More Tears?
Hmm.
Isn't that a shampoo? I stopped using that when I was like 3.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like things like that. And for you guys watching, if you're in the younger generation, write what you think is a poser in today's society. Kind of, so because now we have kind of different layers of what poser is. So what is
Yeah,
the
sure.
current reason to be called a poser?
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Please leave comments, like and subscribe, and all that good stuff. This has been a fun episode. I didn't
Yeah.
think this we're going wow, we're going 2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't think this episode was going to be this long. This was cool.
Yeah.
I figured there'd be some discussion on people's, and some disagreements, but it's all
Yeah,
good, it's all fun.
absolutely.
So everybody watching, write what you think, what you don't like. If it contradicts what we say, all good, all good.
Please,
Just
yes.
say
Yeah.
what you feel, but don't be nasty to the next person saying that he likes the opposite. Just respect and
Absolutely.
stand on your
Don't call
point.
us
So that's
opposed.
fine.
Don't be Kevin
Right?
DeBro in the fucking
Don't be
comment
a
section.
poser.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Ovi for joining. Thank you to Christian for joining. Thank you to Count Ralphus for joining and coming up with this topic. It's been an awesome night hanging out with you guys. Once again, all you viewers, please like and subscribe, repost, all that good shit. We will see you next week. Looking like we're gonna do a Mastodon episode, and your boy's excited for that because I'm excited to talk about Mastodon. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. This has been the Rock Fantasy Files. I've been your host, and I'll probably be your host again. Have a good night, you jerks.